when you say all this money that was transferred upward into the upper class, some people might wonder, how do you intend to bring that money to the people, or how do you plan to spend that money on infrastructure?
Yeah, so first of all, people need to understand that between 1900 to 1970, because of the explosive bottoms-up movements, every income quartile in the United States grew with GDP. But since 1970 till today, because of the fact that the Republicans and Democrats have literally defecated on the working people, what we have is a transfer of wealth of about $47 trillion. And all the infrastructure that should be public infrastructure has been transferred to the elites. So in the first 100 days in office, I will expropriate all the infrastructure of big tech companies from Amazon to Google to YouTube to Facebook to Twitter and give this back to the people. This infrastructure was created by the people, and we don't want to do some little tweaks like Elizabeth Warren and other fools have talked about. All of this property should be expropriated, put into a public stock, which every citizen can participate in, which no person can own more than 1% of all of that. Essentially, all of this should become a public utility owned by the people for the people, period.
Some people hear words like that and they think that you are going after the rich. What do you say to those people?
We're going after the 0.001%, who frankly are the people who've made their wealth through absolute exploitation of the other 8 billion people. But we'll also do another thing, Chris. All those people are US citizens who are actually capable of working, fully functional, but we're living off subsidies and welfare. We will remove their citizenship too. There's a very famous thing in the Bible which says that those who do not work shall not be fed. We got to follow this policy, whether it's on both extremes, the upper class who are not working in the lumpen proletariat. Both of them have a day of reckoning coming, because people like Jeff Bezos, if you think about what he's actually doing, all of the infrastructure that he's created was done on the backs of working people. And it's time that, how many yachts does he need? How many, horse-faced women does he need to bang all day and show that he's a man? And when you really look at this guy, he has literally, if you go to a Whole Foods, the amount of wage difference between the average worker at Whole Foods and someone like Jeff Bezos, there's no reason for this kind of massive income ratio wealth. There's no reason for it. So he's made enough money, and all of these infrastructures, tech infrastructures, should be owned by the public. The real question is, what are we going to do about that crime? Let's focus on the real crime. You say the real crime is all those guys on stage. And that's why the only solution for everyone listening is you got to go to shivaforpresident.com and get ready to vote for Shiva for president. Get one of these bumper stickers and put it on the back of your car. And when you do that, you're saying a big fuck you. And what you're saying is, I'm going to come after all of you criminals by voting for Dr. Shiva. You see how they phrase these questions? It's an assumption that they're not criminals. Okay? Chris Christie was the attorney general or whatever, the governor of New Jersey, where I grew up in. He's a fucking criminal, right? Who's he? He's a mobster. Look at him. He's a fat fucking mobster, right? By the way, I went to school with him. He used to be the catcher on our baseball team. Put on a lot of weight since then. But regardless of that, all of those people on the stage, Chris, are all criminals. The issue is, what are we going to do to jail them? What are we going to do to prosecute all of them? And why are they even on the debate stage? It's a crime that they use social media and then they have this alliance with government to make our campaign invisible. Is that not a crime? How many civil rights laws does that break? How many election interference laws does that break? So they get away with crime every day, okay? So we need to really define who's the criminal here. They're the criminals.